Well, there you are. Again, Charlie Greer podcast. I do this every day. Today, got my Merc t-shirt on. There you are again. Love it. And Lindsay, who did the design, I was talking to her yesterday, and I'm gonna get the PDF files or whatever, and I'm gonna find a company to soon. Everybody can wear such merch. Oh, please like, share, and subscribe. If you want to support the channel, which you do, the info is in the description for Zelle. Let's do this. So, the crab theory. This is a trippy one, but you could take this information to the bank, man. This is for real ancient knowledge. And I learned about this like late '80s, early '90s, and then a lot of times you just don't want to dawn on certain things, but when you have to do certain things. You have when you're dealing with certain things, certain situations. Pardon me. You have to know where people are coming from, and this applies to a lot of people. For one, it applies to all of us. The crab theory I'm talking about, and whether people deny it or not, it's the truth. And I've been wanting to. I saw a video on my Facebook, like a quick video about the crab theory, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I should talk about that. Uh, and people get really defensive when because see, they don't want to, and the people that get really defensive about this are the people that do this such behavior. I'm not saying everybody does it, but it's a human psychology as well. It's human behavior. Now, you can study other things that apply. There's stuff that applies to humans too. So the crab theory. Fishermen know this. They've known this is ancient. So say if you're on a boat and you're crab fishing, whatever the fuck. You put one crab in the bucket, you better put a lid on it. Because that crab, it'll fling itself out. It'll kill itself trying to escape. Okay. You fill that bucket with a bunch of crabs, you don't even have to put a top on it, a lid. Because if one tries to get out, the others will pull him back in. If they all work together, they can all escape. Nope. They'll pull him back in. Matter of fact, if he keeps on doing it, they'll clip his legs off. Now, they don't even have to use a lid if there's a bunch of crabs in a bucket. If there's one, they do. If there's a bunch, they know that they'll police themselves. They'll do this stuff. And if you don't believe me, you can YouTube this. You can Google this knowledge. Now, how does it apply to humans and behavior? Well, come on. People will pull you down. They don't want you. For one, they're too insecure about their own. They don't think in their own mind they can succeed at anything. They think they're stuck in like going to a job, this, that, and the other. This is my lot in life. Oh my God, this, that, and the other. And they'll never admit it. They're pulling you down. They don't want you to get ahead. Instead, they want either themselves, which they won't do. They just can't stand to see someone doing anything that's, positive, magical, whatever you want to talk about, succeeding at certain things. So they'll pull you back in this bucket. They'll pull you back to life. We all know people like that. You can't get away from that behavior. That's why people who succeed, you have to weed these people out. Business people know this. You cannot have a doubter around. People doubting everything. Most people are only the confident is their doubts. They're doubters. They'll speak up only when they're doubting things. They never speak up to inspire people. This is the majority of people in the world, people. Okay? The crab theory is a thing. It is a thing, man. We're all in that bucket. We are all. Now, some of us can fling ourselves out, but don't get it misconstrued. It's for reals. All right. Ask anybody that knows anything about business, or that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with that crab bucket theory. The people that complain about it and doubt it the most, again, the doubters, they're the ones that do it. They're the one that they live their life in that bucket. We're talking about people. Say if like you're in the arts, a band or whatever, in a business. Like say if you go to a bank and get a loan or whatever, they're doing it too. They don't want you to do better than them, even though you're supposed to be like, hey, these people are helping me out. They'll act like they are with their smiles and this, that, and the other. They're baring their teeth. That's another thing. People that bare their teeth, you gotta watch out for them people. Because we all bare our teeth when we smile, but I'm talking about here that like here, you know, that's the thing. In the animal world, you bare your teeth, they're coming at you. Bare your teeth at a fucking gorilla, he'll rip your arms off. These things apply to human nature. Now, granted, every time I've done anything, even within like say that people like with my band, people with fanzines, with labels, with management, whatever, they're a crab in that bucket. They claim that they'll succeed a little bit, but they don't ever see themselves really succeeding. It takes like a little percentage of people that can jump out of that bucket because they're surrounded by people that are pulling people down. You know, people that pull people down. I mean, that's the same thing. We have family members, we have friends. It's all over the place. Next time somebody's pulling, to try to talk to them about it. They'll fly off the handle. You got to study such things. And the ancient people knew this. One crab in that bucket will get out. You better put a lid on it. Because crabs can fling themselves. They'll fling right out back in the ocean. You can fill that bucket to basically the top. It won't be an end. And they're see them moving around. That's what they're doing. They're pulling others down. They don't want anybody getting out instead of them. Even though they could get out. They all could. Nope. That mindset is more powerful than their freedom. They'll kill them. They all know they're going to die. That doesn't matter. I call it like the nanny boo-boo. Like there's certain like behaviors that people have. They'll take that to the gallows, basically. You're constantly being held down. Even people at jobs, at everything. So you're thinking like, why would I want even to know this knowledge? Because you can like divert around it when you see it. Matter of fact, once you acknowledge it, it's everywhere. It might depress you. It might be like, oh wow, I don't want to think about this, but you better. It's a cottage industry. Like with my band, I was in a band called Love Engineer. We started getting like interest, like label interest, and we got like, hooked up with certain people. And then it was like, well, at first they were like interested and had this, and then they kind of nothing was going on, and then it was obvious that like they're not doing anything for it. They're holding us down. It wasn't until years later that I found out that they had shelved us, meaning what they do, and this was a common thing. They probably still do it. I know they still do it. So you have a successful band, you got another band that's kind of similar in the same vein. Instead of like making more money and signing them all and everybody do good, oh no. They'll just concentrate on that one thing and then they'll shelve other bands. They keep you down. They could make 10 times the money. No. See, it's that nanny boo-boo factor too. Nanny boo-boo. People love a secretive kind of manipulative approach to life. They'll never admit it. Again, we're dealing with psychology here. Oh no, not me. I did, and that's all they do. It defines them. So yeah, with my band, we found I knew something was up. It's like, wait a minute, why would they be so supportive? And then literally putting barriers up anywhere because I actually talked to someone. It took like I think it was like I forget how many years later. They're like, yeah, you were shelved. It's a business plan they do. Like what? So say like a band like Guns N' Roses starts popping off. Other label, I mean, they're basically the same label, but other labels will do this too. So say, the label of Guns N' Roses, whatever, they'll sign every band that sounds or competition and then hold them down. So that one band, the crab theory. And these bands, there's thousands of bands this has happened to. And they used to be able to do it at a tax write-off. Then like in 96, I think Bill Clinton cut that off. That's why the music industry it was called artist development. You used to be able to develop a band and put so much money into them. And if they didn't succeed, well, you could like write it off on your taxes. Well, as soon as they got rid of that and you had to pay that, taxes on that money, they've quit doing it. That's why there's no artist development. That's why you're seeing we're living in the creative dark ages. I mean, it's bad. They're promoting God knows what. So first you have to acknowledge, and unfortunately, like this applies to, it's as old as time. It's an identify and eradicate kind of behavior. It's people do it subconsciously if they're not, identify and eradicate, meaning they're no, I want that. People don't want you doing better than they are. You think they're going to be supported. No, 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 no. And then they'll follow the fool. Of course, they need to follow someone who, and it's getting bad. See, there was always a little bit of this. Now there's people in that mouth breathers and just, below average. They can speak, well, some of them. And, but this is what they're doing. It's all over YouTube too. I mean, this some of these people that are succeeding, it's like, my God, who watches them? They'll have millions of views. They're dumb as a rock. Complaining about their life. That's all there is about what they do. Like there's people that literally have like millions of views on YouTube that like, I'm going to wash my dishes and I'm just going to clean house. Huh? Is that what you got? Well, again, the crab book. And then other people will support that because they'll accept that. Like, oh yeah, they're like me. They're down and they don't have any, creative thought. Let's, support them. They don't want to be, forget about the inspiring people. People don't want to be inspired because that validates their stagnant life. Well, I don't inspire people and I'm not going to inspire. So they're not going to. Again, they're confident in their doubt. The only time that they seem excited or speak up is when they're doubting something. Watch people. Listen to them. Again, this is old as time. Every ancient book talks about this stuff. Of course, fishermen know it. They know it. It applies to life. And I know some people aren't going to get this. Because a lot of people just have given up. I don't blame them. I mean, I do, but it's like I feel you that we're living in a creative dark ages. We're living in a business dark ages. Cities, the streets are just crumbling. There's no forward momentum except for this certain little circle of in every big town. Usually, they're smaller towns are dying, man. They don't want to succeed. They don't want people to succeed. So they're trying to do this, whatever they're trying to do. Well, you can't invade with an army. You invade with covert means. You just have to, and I've said this 1,000 times, you just have to put people in power that are below average. You don't have to tell them your plan. Nothing. They'll know they're the crab. They'll pull people down. It's happening everywhere. Matter of fact, I don't even know if there was a place to go. I mean, shit, it's just everywhere. It's a constant battle. That's why people don't want to try anything because they know that that's what they're going to deal with. They're going to be dealing with crabs, basically. That mentality. You think, well, we're human. We're not like animals or crabs. Well, guess what? We kind of are. And it's almost like a parable, You can look into certain things. When and comment below, what do you think? Have you dealt with the crab kind of theory? But when I studied with this acting guru, basically, Eric Morris, and it was expensive back in the day, like the late 90s, when I was trying to, I'd studied in college, when I'd studied like theater and start in junior high, and then I went to a junior college and studied theater, and worked on my acting for years. Got to LA, and it's just like I'd see these other actors at auditions, like, man, what are you doing? Who are you studying with? Someone tell me to, get lost, and others were like, "Oh, I'm studying with this, that, and the other." And then I got to hear Eric Morris, and I already had his book. It's called Being and Doing. It's an amazing book. And Eric had taught like Jack Nicholson, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, everybody studied with this guy. So I kind of, you got to relate and kind of feel people out. And I liked Eric, so I started studying. It was expensive. It was more than my rent. Um, but I knew that I was gonna, succeed. And one of the things that he taught was studying this type of knowledge, this type of behavior, like studying animals. Like he was just like, look, man, go and sit like at a coffee shop and watch people. Study their behavior, study their movements. He was just like, dude, study cats and dogs. You'll learn a lot. And he was right. At first, I was like, man, this guy's crazy. He was dead on. You could take this stuff to the bank. I mean, it's like wisdom. And he learned it probably from, again, it's a universal wisdom that anybody that can apply this, unless you're doubting. See, most people when they're listening, the first thing they're thinking of is they're doubting you. Why? Because they don't want you to do any better than they are. They've accepted their fate, and then that's it. You can't explain it to them. If you were going to try like, hey, break it down and try to tell them what they're doing. No, I'm not. Again, they're doubting. That's all they do. If you film them and then show them how they're acting, like that's not, I don't act that way. They're delusional. It's a delusion. Not even an illusion. It's a delusion. You don't believe how many people are walking around delusional. And we're talking about where you work, the management, this, that, and the other, because it's creeping in. That's why we're doing so bad now, because it's in the politicians, the banking, the financial world. That's what's going on. They'll just steal everything. I self me. This is the first time in human history that there people are, small group of people are like trillions. They don't want anybody else succeeding. They'll pull you down, except them. No, they don't want you to see. They don't want you to. Again, this is movie directors do this, and again, bankers and stuff. They'll act like, oh yeah, you want you to succeed, but as soon as you do a little bit better than them, or show, here it comes this behavior. Oh shucks! I mean, they'll burn everything down. They'll even sabotage themselves just for this said behavior. It's a thing. Now, when I was coming up, it wasn't all that. Now that's all you got. That is, times are bad, people. It's all that's going on. I can see why people don't want to do certain things, because you're just getting doubt. You're just getting this, that, and the other. And usually they come with you with an interrogation of certain questions, and they'll start off. Usually it's anywhere between 3 to 5 questions. Will this come up? Well, why are you doing that? Well, how are you going to do this? And it's not even a conversation. It's an interrogation. Then you can stop them and go, hey, man, you know what? You're interrogating me instead of conversation. They get mad because, again, it validates what they're doing. They don't want to think about it. In their delusional mind, they don't think they're doing it. I mean, they used to call it sin back in the day. It's sinful behavior. It's Luciferian behavior, too. That's another thing. People live like a Luciferian life, don't even know it. Ancient books talking about the devil's trick. That's the devil's trick. Yeah. This certain Luciferian behavior that people live their lives by. Because I always thought that was like, evil or sin was like literally like a witch with a cauldron. Like, oh no. No, people come with you with smiles and a series of interrogating questions that only go to doubt. See, people that they're asking, they're projecting onto you what they're thinking about themselves. They don't ever think they could do anything. So of course they're not going to, that's the only time they get excited or speak up is when they're doubting. And you'll see people like literally they'll start like, oh, they get excited about these doubting questions they got coming up. They'll contradict and observe people. Look around. It's everywhere, man. You can't do anything without I've seen it again. I moved to this small town, so it's really condensed here. This town's kind of dying. When I used to live here, it was kind of popping off. It was a small town, and they Then of course they got rid of like the biggest businesses in town. They shut down. You get a certain mentality, a certain personality, power. That's what they do. They'll blame everybody else. They don't want to see people succeed, even themselves. They don't believe in themselves. The big factory here in town's gone. The private college that had been here since like before the Civil War, and the state hospital gone. I mean, fuck, stuff is closing down. The Long John Silver's closed down in this town. It's like, how bad does it have to be for a Long John Silver's on the main strip? All these just dead. This place used to be hot. Now it's filled with these. I hate to say it, but it's sad. It's everywhere. I've known people that weren't necessarily like that, and then society gets a hold of them. They get a little old, and then that's what they turn in. It's not like you're born this way. Some people aren't, but people will go with the pack mentality. Anybody ask yourself, why are you ranting like a madman about this, Charlie? Because this is what we're dealing with. This is what and they'll only, again, even YouTube is doing this. Like, I'm being doxxed, even though my ratio is doing really well. Meaning I'm not getting that many views, but my views to likes to comments are really good. It's a high ratio. So you would think that algorithm would pick me. No. They're promoting like milk toast. They don't want to see it. Look around. Look at some of these YouTubers that are like, the biggest one. Dude, are you kidding me? That's what they're promoting. They're literally promoting like the crap theory. And they've never, oh no, that algorithm is a crap. That's what that is. Somebody trying to get out of the bucket. Oh no, let's pull you back down. That's what's going on. And it has been, again, I've dealt with this anytime I've done anything, but it hasn't been this severe. Like, people have fucking changed. I mean, there used to be like a little bit of it, and then it was like 90-10, and then it gets worse and worse, and it's like 50-50. Now it's literally 10% and then 90. I mean, you're literally being bombarded. You're being exhausted by the other people's doubt. Because that's what the crab theory boils down to, is doubters. We don't want you getting out of the bucket. They'll pull the legs off a crab to the other crabs when they all could get away. No. Because they're thinking single-mindedly, like, that guy's going to get ahead of me. If they had any sense, they could realize we all could do better, or all the crab. And that's the thing in life. It's not just I, self, me, I, self, me, I, self, me. If everybody would help everybody would be doing better. Everybody have the wealth of the world. No, they're not going to do that. This goes back to the beginning, like the creation story and stuff. It's a thing. Now, granted, you don't want to have, say, if you're in business, you don't want to have a bunch of sycophants around that won't tell you like the truth. You don't want people kissing your ass, but doing mistakes, and they'll go along right with it. But you can't have certain doubters, because they, for one, they probably never created anything in their own. And they use favoritism, nepotism, cronyism to get ahead. Like, I know them, and my friend got me a job, and this and that, and they're all doubting, it's just blatant now. Things will always swing around. You got to kind of like dip, and then it'll come back up. I actually think we're in the dip, and we're kind of going to crest, come back around. The news cycle is like that. They never do anything about inspiring. I turned on my computer the other day, and they'll pop up the main, whatever it is, pops up with these news stories. And one of them was like some woman, like, she had cut her own arm off, or had it removed, like, deliberately. And it was like, that was the best decision I ever made. Like, what? What? You cut your own arm off? Or had it surgically? Huh? For one, how do you do? Who would do that? Is that legal? But no, it's the best thing I've ever did. I mean, I didn't read the whole article, but it's like, shit. That's mental ill. That's crazy. And it was a top story. They're promoting that. Why would they want to do that? Again, goes they want people to be dumb and bogged down with this just insanity. See, insane people have drive, man. They will not stop. It's in everything. Everything. I couldn't when I had my band, I was playing a lot. Why I usually removed members and got other was because of their doubting. At first, they'd start out like, "Oh, I want to be in your band so bad." Oh. They get in, and at first, it's like, "Hey, they're whatever," and then they kind of plateau with their attitude, and then they bring in their life experience and whatever, and they want to promote it. Within shit. Sometimes it's like 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 7 months. It's like who is this I'm talking to? They'll sabotage you. There's a lot of these saboteurs out there, and it's a cottage industry. They'll get ahead a little bit, but they hold everything back down. Have you look around? There is no forward momentum anymore. People aren't inspired to. I mean, there are all these homeless, and people aren't building houses, and houses are rotting, and the streets are going bad, and businesses are closing. While a little circle of, tech people basically are, hey, doing the best they've ever done. Well, they're too stupid to realize that that's a one-way street, man. It's gonna fail. When they come to their senses and people are like, oh my God, we did that. Well, they got to go. You know what I mean? They got to be held down. The crabs have got to pull the legs off of it, or her, or she, whatever. I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds stupid. Crabs? Are you kidding me? It's the truth. Comment below. What do you think? Have you heard about this? Have you go watch YouTube the crab there? Google the. They don't want you to know certain things. Also, this is another. It's some of this stuff is monkey simple, but they don't want you to. Again, you can rise above because once you do, you don't have to deal with these certain people. They become followers. That's another thing. When you do get around, there's a rainbow. There's gold at the end of this rainbow. See, you get through this quagmire of well, these people that were down, then they they might come at you a little bit with the down, but then they can't expose so they have to well. Anytime I've done this, I had to. And again, they first make fun of you, then they accept you, then they want to be like you. Every time I've done anything, when I first started my first real bands, and I went on my own, and I was made fun of. Like it took me about a year to put together Love Engineer, and I was made fun of. People, and it's like, well, I can't beat up everybody. I'm not gonna, you're not gonna let this affect me because it pisses you off and you want to rant, right? I succeed, and then these same people that are making fun of me are begging to open for my band, are begging to do, And in some cases, I'd let them. I'd be like, yeah, pull like a pimp move on them. Sure, yeah, you do. You can have my scraps. I mean, shit, why not? Somebody's gotta have it. You can overcome, but if you don't look into and acknowledge this certain behavior, it'll be a mystery. You're like, what's going? I don't. And you'll go back to simple things. My acting coach Eric Morris was right. It wasn't until I started studying this psychology with other people and animals until I became a better actor. You wouldn't think that would be the case. You'd think like, man, he's a madman. Dead on. And then that knowledge he was teaching, it's a universal knowledge that can be applied to any kind of thing. I found out, reading it applies to all this stuff. He's just smart enough to use it and open and honest enough to teach it. And people fought him. I mean, he would get like Eric Morris, this acting guru, he would get frustrated because he, at first I was too, like, what's he? I didn't get it. He was dead on. I mean, but again, every generation makes the same mistakes. And it's usually like every 4 years, people that move out of home, go to college, and then start again. Well, then you got new people to manipulate. Pardon me. I mean, it's a cottage industry. There are businesses that like deal with people that are just naive about certain things. The housing markets, everything. They know this, especially the above, the people that are like really in control. You can rise above. It's coming back around. See, nothing is relativity kicks in. Nothing stays the same. So it'll dip. It'll come back. People want to be inspired. People will change. And then the masses always go with what the masses are doing. Again, the crabs in the bucket. But you have to, again, we don't think like crabs, but we do this certain psychology. There's psychology in any kind of behavior. So you can't give up. Matter of fact, you got to let it inspire you. Be like, oh, okay, I know what's going on here. And it'll empower you. Then you've got the control. See, that's the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. You got to realize what's going on so you can like, hey, rise above. So, again, please like, share, subscribe. If you want to support the channel, information's in the description for Zelle. Again, check out the t-shirt. Well, there you are again. And these will be, I'll have a link soon to, because I'm researching and I got Lindsay helping me to like research a good company that I can deal with. And then I'll put the link in the description and people can get hats. Because I've already shown this and people already want them. But we got to, it'll take a little bit of time. And I do this every day. So tomorrow, guess what? I'll be back ranting, maybe not about the crab theory, but you never know. Again, comment below. What do you think? But I love y'all. Be blessed. Cheers.